who is Antonio Toloco, who is our business manager for mangoes, has had a family matter come up and is unavailable for today. But we are delighted to welcome Manish Gounder from Countdown in New Zealand, has come to join us. He was going to participate as a spectator and a listener today, but has stepped up to the challenge of actually presenting, and I'm delighted to have you, Manish, so thank you very much. And we also have Dan Scott from Woolworths, who will be presenting, Michael Thompson from Metcash IGA, and Carlos Ceravolo from Harris Farms. Megan Hodzer has also joined us in the last couple of weeks. Coles in Victoria have been in a lot of finger in the dike situations where they've been dealing with day-to-day fires. And so Megan hasn't had an opportunity to put together a presentation today, but has made herself available for the Q&A at the end of this afternoon's session. So thank you for that, Megan, really appreciate it. I might share my screen now and we'll get started. I wanted to begin by setting the scene and reminding each and every one of us what business we are really in.
You know, when the mango trees start coming out, summer's here.
Just holiday time, the beach. Sometimes it just feels like it's Christmas.
Summer, definitely.
I just can't wait to. Mango experience was with an adult, and it was like heaven on earth.
I'm probably like 3 years old, very messy, got it everywhere, all over my face. Really embraced it, it was good. Probably about 4 years old. My dad was a mango addict. Went out and bought a whole tray of mangoes. The texture, the flavour, the sweetness, we just sat there and ate them whole. How did you feel when you saw that big tray of mangoes? Oh, it had to make you smile. Happiness.
And we buy as many as we can afford as soon as they come into season. I love the first mango of the season. Yeah, most days we have a mango.
We have mango smoothies, we have mango on our cereal, probably about 3-4 times a week. If I don't buy the mangoes, I'm complete riding at home. We have mangoes whenever we can. Mangoes are a regular part of summer, definitely.
How many of those are you going to eat? All of them. You're not going to share any of that?
No.
Do you love mangoes? Yes! Do you love mangoes?
As we move to the start of the 2020 mango season, the sense of nervous anticipation is truly palpable. In a year where our lives have been dominated by restrictions, lockdowns, and uncertainty, people are looking to escape this summer, and an Aussie mango offers that perfect opportunity. Now, we may not be able to fly away to our favourite tropical destination this year, but we can certainly go there in our mind's eye. Every time we sink our teeth into a juicy, sweet Aussie mango, pure joy, we are taken away. Everybody is looking for daily moments to escape, and we offer exactly that. This year more than ever, we really want to capitalise on Australians' love affair, and indeed the love affair that we're growing in other parts of the world as well. The love affair with mangoes. We want to dominate their minds, their hearts, and their purchasing power to secure our position, the Australian mango's position as the indisputable king of fruits. We know as an industry what consumers want, and we know how to deliver it. The industry strategy for driving consumer demand is built on the premise that the mango industry as a whole will consistently deliver consumers in Australia and across the globe in our chosen markets with a good to great mango experience. That's every mango, every time. It's a really simple strategy, yet I really know after 6 years, that this is not an easy strategy to execute. And it can only be achieved when every stakeholder, each and every one of us in the room today, and our colleagues that are on the farms harvesting and picking in this moment, only when each and every one of us bands together and does our role, plays our part to the best of our capability, can we possibly deliver on this strategy. There are, and we all know this, there are simply two moments of truth for the consumer. The first is when they see the mango, and this is really paramount to how we forecast and communicate what's happening with the crop. The first moment of truth is when they see that fruit, and if it looks beautiful, if it's full of a big bold display and it's full of fresh, vibrant mangoes, they can't help but indulge. And as we know, the second moment of truth is when the consumer bites into that mango. And in that moment, they have already made the decision to buy another mango or to potentially move to a cherry, a berry, or a piece of stone fruit. For growers who are listening today, the decision to pick is critical. Please make sure that when you are choosing to pick your mangoes, that they are at least meeting the very minimum, if not higher, maturity for your particular variety. Eating is going to be what keeps the consumer coming back and again and again this season. So crop forecasting and maturity of fruit and packing to specification. So ensuring that you're really familiar with your visuals around what's a first grade, what's a second grade, what's a bulk piece of fruit look like, and making sure that we preserve that quality through the supply chain as we move to the supermarket shelf is paramount. When it comes to engaging the whole of industry, I am so excited for this year because we began with engaging our retailers domestically and in our export markets back in May. And we did that with an end of season review of the 2019 season. And each retailer took on board all of the learnings and they understood exactly where they were in terms of the consumers they were attracting, and particularly those that were wedded buyers, the ones that have moved up that ladder of love, and the ones that we are really trying to grow and cultivate. So each retailer over the last 3 months has really risen to the occasion with extraordinary plans for this season. Plans that are very, very exciting, that will encapsulate big, bold displays and wonderful marketing. And to deliver on these intentions, all they need is to make sure that they've got transparency of what's coming and when, and that will change on a weekly basis, and also fruit that's going to eat amazingly well. And without taking away from their thunder today and what they're going to share with you, I would now like to hand over to Tate Connolly to bring you up to date with what the industry consumer marketing plan has in store for this year. So Tate, I'll stop sharing and hand over to you.
Thanks, Trina. Sorry, one moment. Can you see that okay, Trina?
I can, yes.
Perfect. Thanks for the introduction. I will have met many of the people on the call today, but for those that haven't met me, my name's Tate Connolly. I'm the marketing manager.
Hey, Tate, you're not in presentation mode, I don't think yet.
Thank you. That's what I was wondering. There was always going to be a technical difficulty at some point. Let's get this working.
Just down the bottom in the right-hand side there, Tate, of your screen.
Sorry, everybody. You got it yet?
Yes.
But not in presentation mode.
Not in presentation mode yet, so.
Should have practiced this with 2 screens, not 1. Enough?
There we go.
Yep. Well done.
as I was saying, I'm the marketing manager at Hort Innovation. I've been working on mangoes. This will be my 3rd season now. And so I'm really excited to take you through the consumer plan that we've got for the season ahead. And I guess, the first question that people are probably asking themselves is, what's different for this season ahead? And, there's been a lot of consideration that's been put into this plan. So the lead up to this involved consumer research that took place in January. We had a fantastic industry consultation, both with our SIAP and the AMIA board in preparation for this plan. And then also more recently, a follow-up SIAP meeting. So a lot of input, and thank you to everyone that has, that led to us deciding that this season is an extension to our current strategy. That's based on the decision that our SIP is due for renewal next year. So we're extending the marketing strategy for 1 more year. But what we are doing is obviously taking this with a view for the world that we find ourselves in today and the way that we need to both improve and adapt this marketing campaign. What you'll see in this presentation is a fresh campaign look and feel, a plan for the unexpected really, and some lower risk investments. So probably the most noticeable in all of this would be the removal of events such as Mestival from the plan, because we just can't really forecast whether that is something that would be viable with the long lead times that it takes to plan. A flexible approach to our export plans, and also our first ever paid media campaign for mangoes, and a focused audience targeting. So really making sure that we're spending our levy money on the audiences that we want to target and that could make a difference. And if I was to summarize our strategy for communications really simply, it would be that we're getting light and medium mango buyers. So as we always do, we're trying to grow that wedded buyer segment, and that means moving our lighter buyers, our dating and engaged, up that ladder, who regularly treat themselves to see mangoes as an everyday indulgence. So we want to be increasing that frequency that people are purchasing mangoes. They might be buying us less light and medium, but we want them to be buying more often. And we're going to do that by positioning ourselves as the go-to guilt-free treat. From a creative perspective, I guess what's really important here is, at a time where consumers are cutting back, we want mangoes to be seen as an essential. We don't want it to be seen as something that can be taken out of the shopping basket. And with our industry, not quite certain on domestic volumes, it's something that we're all discussing regularly. We need a potential oversupply or undersupply to make mangoes more desirable, but not less valuable. And with intense competition of seasonal fruit, we want mangoes to be seen as number 1. We want to be, in short, the fruit on everybody's lips. And that's why this season, our campaign idea is that Australian mangoes are this season's must-have. So really playing into our seasonal qualities as a fruit, but making sure that we're that staple in people's baskets and the most desirable product that people can be buying. We're going to do that through a really fun and playful way. So, not just a straight approach, but bringing a little spruce of fashion to the world of mangoes. So we position ourselves as this season's must-have item from that perspective. So we'll have fashion at the centre of that creative lens, but we'll make sure it feels accessible and fun and playful in all of the parts of the Mangoes brand that we want it to be. And that sort of on vogue creative content, that's going to play out across all of our channels that I'm going to talk to you a little bit more about through this deck. The first one that we're going to touch on, social media. So something that we've done before, but something that we heard of through that consultation process as being, an area that we can look to really raise our game for, making sure that we're increasing that look and feel, but also delivering on our key messages. Like, this is a really good channel that we've used for talking to our fans, but now that we're talking to people who are slightly more light buyers and medium buyers, we want to be educating them, engaging them, and really standing out in their feed. So we use this platform for that, to talk to that audience. Some of the content you'll have seen already gone live, and a lot more content in creation as well. So you can start to see how that look and feel really lifts. Now, obviously noting that these are just scamp images at the moment, because we're currently in the process of shooting that content and getting some really great look and feel that we can bring through for our platforms and channels, but you just start to get a bit of a feel how everything's nice and vibrant and fun and has that sort of editorial feel to it as it plays through that content. The next part that I touched on earlier as well is for the first time ever having some paid digital in our campaign approach. Now, digital is really exciting for Mangoes. It's great because it's affordable within our budget, within our levy amount. We can be really responsive. So, you know, we can respond to the flow of the crop. We can invest where there's more product coming through. We can, you know, within reason, we can really plan that out so that we make sure that that spend's happening with the flow of the crop. And we can target specific audiences as well. So we can really reduce wastage on that spend and investment that we're making. So we're, again, currently working on the creative that's going to come through those channels too. We'll have, as we have done in previous seasons, an always on press office. So that's really great for Mangoes in terms of creating sort of reasons and reminders for people to purchase, really putting ourselves into those mainstream news pieces and making sure that we're spoken about. We do 2 pitches per month, and we have this reactive press office as well. So we just want to be constantly generating news. So again, Mangoes of this season's must have, and all of the reasons why that might be backed up coming out through those channels. And then also, you know, really building on some of the success we've had in previous seasons around partnerships. We had the fantastic Budgie Smuggler partnership last time. I think what's really exciting for me about some of the partnerships we're looking at this season is they're not just about having that product that we tell press about, but also, you know, we've got Messina who want to develop who are an ice cream brand who want to develop special ice cream flavors, or Maryvale, the restaurant group who want to put on special mango menus. So these are things that consumers can actually go out and eat and try and engage with. So it's a much broader approach to partnerships than we've taken before. And also noting that there's an update to the point of sale material that we're supplying for retailers. I think we're going to talk about that a little bit more later on. So that's a very whistle-stop tour, but just really giving you a flavour of how we've adapted the marketing plan for this season, really making sure that we can be responsive, that we can run with the flow of the crop, that we're spreading out our peak media activity for those peak seasons, and also, you know, front-loading the activity that we're happening there. You know, building up those blocks from our always-on channels, and then making sure that we're investing as that peak of season comes in as well. So that's that. I think the last thing that I would also request from today is we are looking for some volunteers, and we have a great opportunity as part of some PR activity to put together a very own Mangoes Growers calendar. So the lucky participants will receive a full fashion makeover and really demonstrate to Australia why Mangoes of this season's must have. So, you know, if we have any volunteers, we're genuinely looking for people that want to be part of this, and it will be something that's really fun and we can put out to press and consumers and really talk about the heroes of the industry and bring that into the campaign idea as well. So feel free to get in contact with me if you would like to be part of that activity. And then just the last thing that I just want to touch on quickly is I mentioned, you know, this is an extension year because we have our SIP renewal coming up. That SIP renewal is obviously both marketing and R&D happening hand in hand. And Hort and AMIA are working together on the engagement that's going to take place in the lead up to this. So that's something that's going to be sort of communicated in comms channels over the next like 4 to 6 weeks. You'll be hearing kind of through the AMIA comms channels about that SIP renewal. And then I think, Trina, I'm just going to pass back to you to have a discussion about export. Oh, you're on mute.
So there has been a lot of conversation in the media around export and the availability of flights and the cost of those flights. With Australian Mangoes, we are certainly looking to invest. We're looking to invest in the markets where we have some really good relationships already developed and work with those partners that we have been working with over the previous seasons. There are 4 investment criteria for where we're investing marketing dollars when it comes to the export strategy. And they are that we will invest our money in a mix of protocol and non-protocol markets, that they are a mix of established and emerging markets, and that any market where we do invest, we have a robust supply chain where the quality that's required to deliver for the consumer experience can be assured. And we also invest in markets where we have the ability to partner with chosen retailers that really target affluent consumers who are prepared to pay a premium for that mango experience. So over the last 6 seasons, and particularly in the last 3, we've got very strong programs in 5 markets that we've targeted. The first 3 are non-protocol markets, so New Zealand with irradiation, South Korea and the United States, and then Singapore and Hong Kong non-protocol markets. We're going to continue to work with the supply chain exporters, growers from Australia who have invested heavily in those markets and are seeing themselves going to those markets with program plans again for this year. And we've begun all of our conversations with the importers and retailers in those markets, including Monish Gounder from Countdown, where we've had an excellent program over the last 3 years, and we have some really exciting target goals for this season. Of course, the actual investments in terms of what activities we'll be investing in will depend on what's happening with COVID in those markets at the time, and also will be determined by, whether we actually, how much fruit we're exporting. But at this stage, all signs are that we will be strong programs into those markets, but we will flex as we move through, and we're having weekly export forums as we speak. So that brings us to the conclusion. Before we go on to the retailer presentations, Tate, just 3 questions that have come in for you. What does the industry have in place this year, particularly to sell increased domestic volumes due to the export issues that may or may not arise? The second question was, has the industry promotional budget been increased to help the above issue? And you may have already touched on that, I think. And the third question was, will the majority of marketing be done when big volumes are expected? The comment was that last year it was seen that significant decrease in mango marketing for January when there were large volumes around. So 3 questions, but I think you've covered them. And if you can just quickly go to those, that would be great.
Yeah, sure. I mean, I hope by way of the last one, in terms of, the spread of that activity through the season, we can see that playing out in that calendar that I've shown. Yes, we definitely have an increased spend for this season by way of marketing investment. And also really the critical piece there about factoring in that domestic supply was the decision to include advertising into this year's budget by way of that digital activity. So that really gave us the ability to put some paid spend behind what we're doing and reach bigger audiences, controlled audiences, and reach them more often as well. So that peak season activity is where we really want to make sure that we're ready and prepared for any increased domestic supply.
Thank you, Tate. Excellent. If you could just stop sharing your screen now. And Michael Thompson, if I could ask you to share your screen now. We'd love to hear what Metcash IGA have in plan for the season. So thank you, Michael.
Thanks, Trina. Good afternoon all. So as Trina said, so my name's Michael Thompson and my role is that of the National Trading Manager for Metcash. I'm here to present on behalf of Metcash and the IGA network on our mango story. But first, a small introduction, which some of you have heard before, but I think it's key that I share this now. So I'll bring up my screen and hopefully you can see.
If you just go into presentation
mode,
Michael.
It's just got a bit of a lag.
Yes.
There we go. Come up okay?
Great, thank you.
All right, thank you. So from its origins in 1927 as a small family business, Metcash has grown to become Australia's leading wholesale distribution and marketing company, specialising in grocery, liquor, hardware and other fast-moving goods, but more importantly, fresh produce. Metcash champions the interests of the independent grocery, liquor and hardware sectors through our core competencies of buying, merchandising, marketing, brand building, distribution, logistics and warehousing. And when it comes to fresh produce, we have a presence in every state in Australia, with buying teams and distribution centres located in all major capitals. Our produce operations in Queensland, New South Wales and South Australia are structured with a state produce manager, senior produce buyer, category buyers and admin support teams, all with a wealth of produce industry experience. In Victoria, a little bit different. We have a joint venture partnership with Rainfresh. They're a second generation family owned business with over 45 years experience in the produce industry. And in WA, we have a slightly different model, working with key wholesalers to support our independent retailers through our produce relationships manager. When it comes to our retailers, they are many and varied. Our retailers range from small single store operators to the larger multi-store operations such as Romeo's, Ritchie's, Cornett's, Morgan's and White's, and that's just to name a few. IGA is a network of 1,400 independent family-owned businesses that sit in the heart of local communities across Australia, giving back and supporting local producers, suppliers and charities wherever possible. And I'm sure a number of you here today may be familiar with our 1,400 stores, 1,400 stories, TV and social campaigns that have helped tell the story of a number of our retailers and why these amazing people are so valued within the industry and within their local communities. So why mangoes? Why are they so important to us? Well, as the slide shows on the screen now, they're a seasonal fruit. They're an impulse buy. 82% of shoppers making their decision to purchase a mango when in the store. So what makes mangoes different to other summer fruits? They're unique, they have no substitute, and they're considered an exotic, exquisite, juicy, sweet indulgence. And I'm sure everyone in the room agrees on that. So a plan. Well, to maximise the opportunities in sales with mangoes, it's critical in our business that we have a plan. Essentially, this is no different to you as growers and wholesalers. Knowing your product, when you'll have it, why it's important, and how to communicate and execute a successful season. You want to keep the plan as simple as possible, which is what we had done in the previous years at Metcash. So 2013-16, nice simple plan. However, reality always throws us a curveball, or in our case, multiple curveballs, with forests to navigate, valleys to traverse, oceans to negotiate, bridges to cross and ladders to climb before we hit the finish line. And it can be exhausting, and in the past for us as a business and for our suppliers and retailers alike, it has been. So why have we struggled in the past? Well, it's not from the want of trying, that's for sure. Our structure and the way we do business is a key part of our challenges. As mentioned at the start, we are the wholesaler into the independent network. And whilst we, Metcash, own the IGA brand, we actually don't own the stores. We're not a vertically integrated buyer and retailer of goods. So our plans may have been good, but our communication and key messages of those plans has in the main been lost due to the very nature of the independent network and to a degree, how our internal business mechanics work. And it's for those very reasons why when we looked at market performance over previous years, we struggled to maximise the opportunities in driving our mango message, both internally and externally. And we acknowledge the fact that major retailers and specialist produce operators, such as Harris Farms, have always done a great job when it comes to mangoes. And in particular, Harris Farms, I don't believe there is any better in their field when it comes to mangoes. But that shouldn't stop us from improving the way we go to market and sell our message to our retailers and to their shoppers. We have a plan, and as we have always had, our challenge is improving how we actually communicate that plan. So our plan has a solid foundation, just like any house needs a solid foundation. Now, I'm not going to take you through this whole slide today. However, I will point out that our plan is all around customer first. For Metcash, that's our retailers. They are our customer. And their shoppers. They are our retailers' customer. And we are a shopper-led business. Our house also has the ability to have self-empowered people, and our state buying teams are a great example of that. and our suppliers, who also play a pivotal role in helping us deliver a quality product that enables us to support our retailers with competitive pricing. Our supply network is one of the best in the country due to the very nature of the independent network. We have retailers in some of the most remote locations in Australia, along with many different store footprints, both large and small, that require more bespoke level of service. Our sales messaging, so improving our sales messaging. Over recent years, our sales messaging is consistent and regular, leading up to mango season and for the entire duration. We cross major stakeholders with not only our state produce teams, but our state merchandise managers and retail operations support teams too. We have shared our market insights now with our retailers to help them better understand the importance of mangoes, especially around the conversion rate piece. And it's critical for our retailers to understand what mangoes can do for their business. Whilst there are the larger store operators, the majority are single store owners and not that close to fresh. So they need our support, they need guidance, and they need to understand. This improvement since 2017 is evident for us in how a growing number of retailers now go to market on mangoes. Prior to 2017, most retailers in the IGA network only sold one variety of mango at any given time. Now we have retailers selling multiple. We're still not perfect, but we are definitely getting there and have seen massive improvement. So what has helped Metcash and IGA drive sales? Well, the image up on screen is an attempt by me to highlight the many cogs and wheels within our business and how they are all now working together to drive our message. Whether it be from the mango industry perspective, it's the work we do around the wheel of velocity and momentum, the support with merchandising point of sale, and the critical one for us being the weekly crop forecast. From a grower and supplier perspective, it's all about delivering that quality product and, of course, at that competitive price. It's all around having the right condition fruit. Now, we may not have a large direct grower base. We do work very closely with our many market wholesale agents. The wholesale market plays a big part in our business, and as such, we do rely on product going to the markets and having access to quality product that meets the right bricks and dry matter specs. And we've seen a massive improvement in the past 3 years. And this has helped our buyers to have more confidence in promoting mangoes, as we can plan in advance our marketing and therefore give our retailers confidence what the mango plan will help them deliver. Leading from this, we've seen massive improvement in our sales data via the Nielsen home scan, which we continue to share that success internally and externally with our retailers, and our buyers can share that success with their suppliers as well. And we know we're not the biggest, but we know we can keep growing. We can keep growing that mango pie, and our share of that pie continues to show growth. Our Christmas campaign last year proved that point. We had exceptional growth in the 13-week period to the 28th of December. Our share of trade, while small at 4.2%, was up 0.8 versus the previous year. And our IGA retailers won the most share in dollars, which was simply amazing for us. Not surprisingly, on the back of that, our marketing plans again this year will continue to have mangoes as a key customer driver. So where are we now? Tate showed that new point of sale, which is exactly what we're going for this year. So our Slice, Dice, Demolish campaign, that had a terrific 3-year cycle, and that helped us gain some exceptional sales. The point of sale and messages were well embraced by retailers and shoppers alike. However, as I said, this year, new campaign, so grab an Aussie mango this season's must-have. Absolutely fantastic. But before we enter the 2020 season, we should address the elephant in the room. Yes, COVID-19. So I've spoken about our plans and previous curveballs that we had delivered to us in years past. Well, as we would all acknowledge, COVID has delivered one this year. It's almost like that first delivery Shane Warne bowled to Mike Gadding in that historic Ashes Test match in 1993. You didn't see it coming, it pitched and then knocked your bails off, and you were wondering, what did I just witness? Well, from an IGA perspective, it posed many challenges, especially in the early stages of the pandemic. In short, though, there have been benefits for our retailers. Due to their size and location, many shoppers turn to IGA to avoid the crowds of major supermarkets and shopping centres. But that also presented challenges for small operators, having to adopt and adapt in an ever-changing environment too. But we've seen growth in market share and in produce, which gives us confidence in how we can continue to grow and promote. We have continued to run solid promotional campaigns in produce during the height of the pandemic, and we've got no plans to change. To reiterate, we will continue to adopt and adapt to the situation. And today's a clear example of this. Here I am sitting in my home office telling you all about our mango story. I'd much rather have delivered how we have in previous years, on farm or in the pack sheds in front of growers. However, technology has helped us deliver to you, as our other presenters will today too, and probably a wider audience. In closing, I want to thank Australian Mangoes for the opportunity to share our journey and our future plans with you all today. These final 3 slides are a small sample size of what our retailers did last year to drive mango sales, and you can expect to see more of that again this year. I do want to thank everyone for taking time out of your hectic days to sit down and afford me your attention. And for those who couldn't make it today, and even for those here virtually, I believe this webinar will be made available for viewing later, so it's a great chance to digest all the information later on. Once again, thank you, and I'll hand back to Trina.
Thank you, Michael. And from all in the industry and all the attendees today, we wish you the very best of luck, you and your retailers, for this season. I'm sure it's going to be mighty. Anybody who has any questions of Michael, if you could please jot them down into the chat room. We'll address those at the end of the presentations. And I'd like now to introduce Dan Scott from Woolworths. Dan, if you would like to share your screen, we look forward to hearing from you. Thank you.
Thanks, Trina. Just give me a sec while I sort out some technology here.
Certainly.
How's that working or not?
Yes, and it's in presentation mode. Well done. Thank you, Dan.
Perfect. Thanks, Trina. And thanks, Michael. It seems that we've got a lot of shared goals in your plan as well as ours, which is fantastic. Good afternoon, everyone. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Dan Scott and I am the Category Manager for Mangoes at Woolies. I might just start off by saying that every year our customers and our store teams give us feedback about how excited they are to get into their first glimpse and smell of mangoes in our stores. It tells them that summer is almost here and it's time to get into some summer selling and buying. We recognise how important mangoes are to our customers and our teams, and we have some great plans in place for the season ahead to bring mangoes to life in all of our stores. I'd like to share some of that with you here today. Before I do that, I'll just talk through the agenda. So I'll start off by giving a bit of a business update, how total fruit and veg performed from Woolies' perspective. Then I'll have a bit of a discussion around how mangoes went for us last season. I'll then jump into how we're engaging our team and our customers this year ahead. I'd like to talk a little bit about who is the mango customer, but also who is the COVID customer, given that it's a very evolving space as we head into the season. Before I close out, I'll just touch briefly on a quality component and obviously our data bar implementation. So total fruit and veg results for Woolies was a really promising result for FY20. We grew sales off the back of some pretty significant volume increases, but also some price inflation as well. Our sales versus the rest of the market were a little bit challenged. That had a lot to do with some headwinds that we faced into the back end of half 2. Some of the bushfire impact in our resort stores, but also some COVID impact, as I'm sure everyone's well aware of. As a result of that, that sort of flew into some market share challenges as well. Very similar to the point that Michael made about shopper habits as they headed into COVID. But I'll touch on that more when I talk about who is the customer. Our customers were equally as pleased with the job that we did for them, so that was a good outcome. We significantly reduced our stock loss in stores, so a really good outcome from or less product going in the bin, I should say. And we delivered fresher product to our stores by having less day stock on hand in our DC. So all in all, result. If I can just talk about the FY20 mango season briefly. So we had some great success year on year with a few varieties, which saw some pretty significant year on year unit growth across total mangoes. This was actually a result of a lot of collaborative planning and forecast planning with growers to capitalise on the flushes of fruit. It was a really positive outcome with the joint planning to ensure we moved through the volumes of what was particularly KP at the time that was available as a result of the flush. The season wasn't without its challenges as always, and unfortunately this was usually driven by our inability to have clear line of sight at what was coming at us. We're certainly looking to iron away those creases this year, and we're certainly planning and looking forward to a cracker season ahead. I just want to talk about our famous for fruit and vegetables and how we're engaging our store teams. In store, we're really working hard with our store teams through our famous for fruit and veg program. It's a really simple program focused on 5 key elements to ensure we put our best offer forward for our customers. This will certainly help our execution for the mango season ahead. As I mentioned, there's 5 key elements. They're quite simplistic. What are our first impressions? So what does the customer first see when they walk into the store? Is the mango displayed front and center as we expect it to be? Would I buy it? Is the quality right? Are there no tied mangoes on show? Has the quality checks been performed? Are we ready to sell? Are the displays neat and tidy? Are they all tied up with ticketing, etc.? Do we have the right stock at the right time? I'll expand on this later, but essentially it's about having the product on show at our busiest peak trading periods. And finally, customer engagement and messaging. And you can see down in the right-hand corner on that slide there, that's what we're talking about there. Direct connection to the customers. The first mangoes of the season just in from Bowen, North Queensland. Drawing that real connection with our customers and calling that out to them. So the famous for fruit and veg program actually forms part of the wider fresh strategy, which is great for us because it enabled us to get some real traction delivering strategy. So our ambition this year is to actually roll that out to 390 additional stores this financial year. So this will deliver some really great outcomes for our mini season and some compliance as spelled out to the teams in the training package. So really exciting. It also involves some of the meat strategy there, but also some of our convenience meals offers that we're currently in the market testing with some great results. So all in all, a really exciting pack to be launching with our teams. I just wanted to talk to you a bit about our trade shows. It's key that we have to invest time in engaging in our store leadership teams about how we want them to execute our fruit and veg offer. And as such, we run an annual trade show to inform and engage our store leadership teams. They're a really important part in delivering what we want them to do. We focus on key themes like the famous for fruit and veg program, seasonal updates, how we expect the seasons to perform, and that might be an update about how KPs are coming at us or what the R2, E2 outlook might be. It's a really great forum to communicate that message to our store leaders. Merchandising standards and our expectations. So, are the mangoes front and center as we expected? Are they all tied up and ticketed as we expect them and we need them to be? And also key seasonal messages and focuses to engage our teams and our customers. And that may involve things like, the promotional plan for the KP season ahead by region, giving our store leaders that type of information that they can then take back to their teams. This year will clearly need to be a little bit different with COVID impacts. Like many things similar to this forum, this will need to be a virtual forum as we move into the peak trading period. As always, Woolies will have mangoes featured front and centre, and will engage and excite our customers and our store teams with exciting new point of sale and activations this year. Obviously, with COVID impacts, we'll need to make some changes. I think I've got sampling on just about every one of those photos there. Probably not the best example, but yeah, we'll just need to be quite flexible and agile when we learn what we can do and what we can't do. But we are actually really excited about all the activations this year. Not saying that sampling is off the plate, excuse the pun. However, we will need to address it as, you know, as restrictions ease or whatever the case might be. And we'll also have our print and online activations this season with Mangoes featured prominently. So we're really looking forward to connecting and engaging on all our Mangoes customers this season through our media extensions. So who is the COVID customer? I guess the call out here is that there is certainly an evolving space. This is an evolving space with lots of changes to still come. Different states and territories are going to adapt to their own new COVID world in different ways as they learn more. You know, obviously Victoria is certainly an evolving space here, and we'll need to watch that closely to see what the next steps need to be. Before I talk about who the COVID customer is, I'd just like to take a second to talk about who the Mango customer is. As you can see there on that slide, we bucket the customers into a few different groups: young singles and couples, middle-aged singles and couples, older singles and couples. Just as an example, there's a few more there as well. So who is the biggest customer? Older families, retirees, and older singles and couples are by far our largest customers when it comes to sales representation. Who are our biggest opportunities? So this is really just a bit of a thought starter to get your head around, you know, how can we engage these customers better? So new families, middle-aged and younger singles and couples represent our biggest opportunity. So they're our lowest sales representation when it comes to Mango category sales. So the team and myself are certainly working in that space to understand how we can engage these customers more frequently and get them shopping the category. We can also have a look at our Mango segment customers, and as you can see here, we've got it broken up into our budget bucket of customers, our mainstream bucket of customers, and our premium bucket of customers. And this one's a really big call out because, as you can see there, our budget bucket of customers really represent the greatest opportunity to try and grow them. Premium and mainstream, you know, quite regularly shopping the category. However, our budget customers are really underrepresented. Really a key call out as we head into the new COVID world or the new norm, as what we're seeing is our customers are really budget and value conscious. So really good question about how can we engage that budget customer. It is a bit of a good call out, but that from a Woolies perspective, we are seeing the budget customer being our fastest growing customer. So whilst they're still our lowest, they are shopping into it a lot quicker than attracting new customers from the other two segments. So really positive call out there with some key changes we've made across the category. And I've just included the days of the week, time of the week data here, just as a bit of an FYI. It's not, there's nothing too profound here. Saturday, Sunday, or sorry, Sunday's our biggest day. Then second, we've got Saturday, and third, we've got Monday. That's broadly in line with how we find our total fruit and veg result. But really key call out to understand from, you know, our store instruction when we really need them to be putting the focus on mangoes, certainly that weekend period, but also Monday. And from a timeline point of view, so 11 a.m. till midday, one of the busiest times, and then 4 p.m. till 5 p.m. So that's when we ask our stores to really buckle down and make sure the displays are looking perfect so that we can capitalize on every opportunity. So who is the COVID customer? Well, I don't confess to having all the answers on this one because it certainly is a evolving space. And at the time that I put this together, there's probably been some significant changes just since then, as every day brings something different. But I guess, you know, the new normal, generally speaking, is that customers are spending more on meal occasions. So dinner and breakfast, but they're also spending some cash on personal care and household cleaning occasions. I guess the assumption is that, you know, they're home all of the time. So not only are they cooking for themselves all of the time, but they're also making sure their house is clean. Online shopping has expanded exponentially. So I'm sure that all the retailers can concur with this comment, but yeah, we've had to obviously make some significant changes within our online business. You know, as far as standing up new online businesses overnight to try and cater for this really fast-growing online shopper. I guess the theory is that customers are far more comfortable doing online shopping than they are to go to a shop and physically shop it. During peak COVID restrictions, neighbourhood shopping became preferable. Now, this sort of ties into the point that Michael made with some of the share challenges, well, some of the Woolies share challenges, certainly, as customers were far more comfortable and felt much more safe just ducking down to their small neighbourhood shopping centre, as opposed to going to the larger shopping centres with lots of people around them. This is now starting to normalise, depending on the state. Obviously, Victoria would be one, certainly one exception. Customers have switched into pre-packed products in the peak of COVID, and they've not switched back. So as recent as last week, myself and my team were having a look at some of our pre-pack numbers across the category, and certainly the growth is huge. So really just a bit of a thought starter about, you know, not only mangoes, but the other products. What do we need to offer in that space? You know, sustainability and packaging is still very at the forefront of people's minds. However, customers are also telling us that they feel safer buying a pre-packed product as opposed to a loose product. And something I touched on before, customers are far more budget and value conscious. So the team and myself are really having a good think about how we address that. So what next? Like I called out, we certainly don't have all the answers. We are looking to understand how we can excite and engage the budget-conscious customer, particularly in the mango season. But then also, what will we need to do to adapt and change for this mango season ahead? Our focus will very much remain on offering our customers a consistent eating experience this season. As a result of this, we will continue to conduct maturity testing on all our mangoes by growing region this season. Obviously, we'll be testing for things like dry matter and sugar levels. And as I called out, there will be continual testing throughout the season so that we've got our best foot forward right throughout the seasons. I just wanted to take a second to talk about data bars. Again, you might say. Since the implementation of data bars, we've seen some really positive steps forward in scan accuracy and also reducing stock loss in our stores. It gives us the ability to understand whose product we have in store. It's simpler for customers and our team. I guess we need to understand and appreciate that a lot of the time we have, 14-year-olds, sometimes younger, are working in our supermarkets and they're not familiar with all the mango varieties. We're on the journey of educating them, but they're certainly not there yet, and certainly not all of them. So the data bar system just makes it really easy for them to understand what mango's what, and not only that, but they can just scan the mango and they don't need to be too hard about it. As I mentioned, improved scan accuracy and forecasting resulting in better on-shelf availability. As far as the forecasting piece is concerned, I might just add a bit of context to that. So if we're scanning everything through as a KP mango, then we certainly won't be generating an accurate order on the other varieties that are missing out on the scan data, because the system doesn't understand that we're actually selling those as well. So data bars just remove any risk of that happening. And I'm just going to ask for everyone's support in obviously the continued implementation of the data bars this season. So as you can see, we've got some really solid plans in place for the season ahead, but it won't be a success without your help. So if I could ask for 3 key areas of focus and support for the season ahead, it would be the following. Already touched on ensuring data bar compliance. Forecast accuracy. I think at the beginning of the presentation, I called out that some of our biggest wins last season were when we had our best transparency and forecast view of what was coming at us, so that we had the levers to pull the activity that we needed so that we could keep the value in the product and have a really robust plan built around that. And finally, I'll just say quality call-outs in season. If there's things that we need to know about, not only related to quality, but any sort of intel that will help us roll out a successful mango season, then please pick up the phone and let us know. I think I made a comment yesterday where I said, well, we don't know what we don't know, so we can't possibly plan for something that we haven't been told about. So if there's something that you'd like to share with us, please, by all means, pass on that information. To close out, I just want to say thanks in advance for what's going to be a fantastic season ahead. I'm sure that by all working together, we can really look forward to a great season. Thanks again. Thanks, Rena.
Thank you, Dan, and we wish everybody at Woolies a spectacular season as well. If you would now stop sharing your screen, and Carlo Ceravola from Harris Farms, welcome for your presentation. And Maureen, if you could just pull up that single slide, that would be great. Thank you.
Sorry, we got me now. Good afternoon to everyone. Thank you for joining me. And yeah, next few minutes, I'll just spend a bit of time going through the Harris Farm battle plan for this year. But first and foremost, I'd like to congratulate Michael and Dan on two fantastic presentations. And just a note to Trina that next year, please, can I go first? Because it's no good going behind these two, eh? Very, very well done. I do feel slightly inadequate, but I've got what I got, so we'll roll with it. But I just want to say too, mangoes is a tough gig, and for all the retailers on board, I only wish you all the best for this season. No doubt we'll have our challenges, but no doubt we'll have some success. Everyone is in the true spirit of it, and with that will come all the rewards it deserves. So the best of luck, not too much luck, but yeah. We'll move on. So for me, I mean, I think I know most people out there. This presentation will be rough and ready, and anyone that knows me, that's pretty typical of me. Yeah? Pretty straight up and down. I try and keep a fairly pragmatic approach to everything we do here at Harris Farm. It's something that I've learnt from David over the years, and we keep it simple, but we try and be extremely effective at what we do. So for me, this is my 20th year here, and 15 of those I've had the absolute pleasure of doing mangoes. When I started this journey 15 years ago, I didn't have one bit of grey hair, and the beauty of this meeting is that you'll get to see this lovely grey mop that I'm currently wearing. So it has been a wonderful, wonderful ride, and I've enjoyed it. And the beautiful thing about mangoes, and it's a bit of a cliche, but very, very true, is that no two seasons are ever alike. So if anyone thought this was going to be any different, we are very much mistaken, because we are going to be in for one hell of a ride. So just to scale it back a bit, basically within this organisation, it has been go, go, go since December and the fires. We had an extremely busy December, obviously, because the fires kept many people in Sydney, and I'm sure that Dan and Michael had a similar experience. So, December and January were unbelievable, and flowed into February. Then we came out of fires more or less straight into flood and that early part of March, and then obviously, with stating the obvious, we're in the COVID period. So it has been a year to remember in many, many ways, and COVID has only just been one part of that. It has been something that hopefully we only have to do once in a lifetime. But I think at the outset of the COVID period, we in this organisation got together and we thought, what's the best way for us to push this thing forward and keep everyone safe and keep customers happy. And what we found out was that in the doom and gloom around the panic was just to keep everything nice and simple and provide certainty in a period where there was none. And matter of fact, there was a lot of uncertainty. So we just kept it really simple philosophy of a business as usual. So customers would walk in and we would do our level best to make sure we were fully stocked with good fresh product, and the whole store was ready to operate as per normal. In terms of operating, we just tried to keep everything, all the staff, all functioning as normal, and basically wherever we could, as well as abiding by all the health regulations, we just wanted to plan a purely business as normal strategy. That held us in good stead. That held us in really good stead. We maintained a fantastic in-stock position for a good all of it virtually. We were really pleased with our in-stock position across the whole business, and I think that held us in good stead because it's no fault of anybody's, but it was just a period where there was difficulty keeping shelves full. There was staffing issues. There was all sorts of things going around us. But all we wanted to do here was be that nice, steady rock, reliable, come in, have a good, safe shopping experience. But most importantly of all, you could come in and buy what you needed. And I think that held us in great stead and continues today to hold us in great stead, was just to be that comfort, that reliability, that safe shop, that if I want that, I can go there and I'm pretty sure I'll get it, or I know I'll get it. And we've attracted a whole heap of customers, and we're really proud to say that we've held on to them all and even more. So in that respect, that was from the early outset, we recognised that people were looking for certainty. So given that worked for us early, I think there'd be no reason to break away from that when trying to work around a strategy for this mango season, and that is to provide certainty once again at a time where Dan correctly pointed out is there's not a great deal of certainty around, that things are changing and moving on a daily basis. But as retailers, I think if we can provide that stability and that comfort for our customers, that'll come out and that'll have us well positioned in the months to come. So the questions are, will Harris Farm continue to be the home of mangoes? Absolutely. It's business as usual here. We'll do to date up until this year, up until date has been a year of uncertainty, and it is certainly our mission to provide some certainty around our shopping experiences. So to our customers, to our trading partners, is most definitely business as usual here. The customers can expect to see Harris Farm Markets as a one-stop mango shop, and we'll have a mango that provides for every individual, and we'll have a mango that provides for every individual's needs or occasions. That is something we've done for a long time, and we certainly will not move away from a strategy that's been very fruitful for date. So we'll continue to sell all that beautiful premium fruit. We'll continue to sell the K-sales. We'll continue to sell those imperfects, all that scratchy fruit. We'll continue to sell all varieties. It is no change from what we've done here for years and years on end. Customers expect it, we'll provide it. To the growers, once again, there is no change to the strategy we've employed for the last several years and very successfully. The whole of crop strategy we have with our direct farmers out of Darwin and Catherine will maintain. This year, I think wherever the journey takes us in terms of our growers and trading partners, I think it's important that we take that journey together. But I think this is the season where you need to remain nimble and open-minded and prepared to change, both as growers and as retailers. I think we've touched on the importance of forecasting accurately. I mean, if ever there was a year that was super critical, it is certainly this season. The more accurate, and both gentlemen alluded to it, the more accurately the forecasting are, the better we can execute down here. If we come from a position of knowledge, that'll translate into dollars into your pockets. If we understand when those big weeks of fruit are coming down, we can organise ourselves to meet that fruit and sell it efficiently. And ultimately, we can do it at a price that would give you a better return. Because as I've said, if anyone's ever come to one of my, or heard me speak before, once we start playing and pulling price triggers, that ultimately leads to lesser returns for growers. And that is certainly not what we're in it for. So yeah, this is a heightened sense of anxiety around forecasting accurately. Certainly it's not my place to be breaking growers' chops at the moment, but I need to know what's going on. I haven't been able to get into the growing areas, but so that has to transpire into more telephone conversations and more communication around that, because without that physicality of being on farm and having that look around so I can come back here and make plans, I just need to hear it from them. So it's more communicating, being, being accessible more often and making really good decisions, exchanging information as often as possible. And once again, I can't emphasize how important it is that as growers, as retailers, we have to be prepared to react to the environment that's around us at the time. And we don't know what that is, but we're aware of it, that it is changing. So we're already ahead of the game. Just be reactive and prepared to move. And we need to make plans. Everyone needs a plan, because without a plan, we're rudderless. But we have to be prepared to, certainly in this organisation, we'll be prepared to make changes to those plans, because if the environment means we have to, and that's where it takes us, well, that's certainly the journey we'll be taking. There was a question around, the issues around exporting and the potential for there to be a surplus of R2s here. Well, if that were to transpire, well, then certainly this organisation will be playing its part in getting into those R2s and moving them, because that is the, that will be a representation of what's going on in the environment. And also that is, what the industry requires us to do. And more so, it's the right thing to do for our customers. Will mangoes be the hero fruit for the whole summer? You're going to get sick of me saying it, but it's absolutely no change here. So it absolutely will be. Our mango journey has started. It starts in the very beginning in Darwin, and it will finish sometime around far north Queensland with Brooks, or possibly in WA with Kensington Prides, or depending on how the season pans out, could even be down in Mildura with late season KPs or honey golden mangoes. So my journey ends when the fruit ends. So it's I often get envious of my colleagues because they get to bail up. There's a couple of little growers around the country that serve us well with late varieties. And so our journey here tends to kick into most definitely April, but in many years it's gone into May. So it's the Harris Farm mango journey just tends to go for a couple of months longer. And that's all part of it. And it's something that, once again, customers really like that, that fresh brook mango around Easter time. It is always well received. So they want it. Customers tell us they want it. We'll continue to provide it. Another question that was raised, will you be marketing late season varieties? Once again, most definitely. We will range nearly every single variety out of every region, including the silkies that we get out of Bundaberg, the dragon tooth mangoes we'll be getting out of Mariba, all those beautiful palmers we get out of Dambula, or even when Robert loves me with those new varieties to trial. Whatever it brings, we're willing to roll up our sleeves and give it a red hot go. This business down here is obviously, it is one that's always been built on opportunity. So being opportunistic, and it's the speed at which we can change and maneuver, which has always brought us competitive advantage. And that's because we've only got, at this stage, 22 stores. There's another 3 opening this year for all our growers in Queensland, anyone from Queensland. We've opened our first store in Clayfield on Monday. It is not badged to Harris Farm yet because of COVID restrictions and our inability to access the store, but there is a 6-week minor build, and that store, whilst it is a Harris Farm today, it won't be badged Harris Farm until 6 weeks. Then for the people of Queensland, we go to West End in May of next year. And there's even some talk around the store on the Gold Coast early next year. So we've broken into Queensland. It hasn't been ideal. Obviously, not being able to access the state has hindered that plan, or else we fully expected to be up there and fully operational now. But you can't do what you can't do, and life needs to go on. So we will continue and work with what we got to work with. But yeah, rest assured that the Queensland journey is well and truly on its way. So Queenslanders, the response initially has been absolutely enormous. So they're really looking forward to having Harris Farm markets in Queensland. So we're really looking forward to it. But yeah, like I've alluded to earlier, it's our competitive advantages to stay nimble and to move around with the season and the region and whatever that brings us. So if that's Imperfects in Bundaberg, or if it's premium KPs out of the north, or if it's honey golds wherever, whatever it is, if that's the opportunity, I'll present it to our customers. The beautiful thing about this organisation, and it's a reflection of the size of the organisation, is that mangoes are a part of our DNA. It's something that I enjoy doing. It's something that I've really poured a lot of time into and devoted a huge part of the 15 years doing it. But it's not only me. The beautiful thing about mangoes and Harris Farm, it's something everyone in the organisation is extremely passionate about. From those of you who've met our founder, David Harris, to his 3 sons, to the fruit stackers, to the guys that grade the fruit, to the driver, to the cleaner, everyone's got a bloody opinion on how I should do the job. But that only speaks to the passion of the organisation, and I always encourage to hear other people's opinions, because you just never know when you might be able to pick up that one bit of information that'll give you that bit of advantage that you're looking for, particularly now, as you know, as I recognise that Coles and Woolies and the IGAs of the world are getting a lot closer to you know, they're formidable opposition, and they're doing mangoes better every year. And I think Trina, you should take some of the kudos for that in bringing everybody up a level. But yeah, it means we work a bit harder. If that's what it takes, that's what it takes. But we're always happy to do it. How will Harris Farm marketing change as a result of COVID? Please don't get sick of it, but we're not changing anything. We'll keep doing the same as we're doing. We'll have plenty of POS. You can see some of it there. We've already started. There'll be some radio. There's some stuff going on radio. We are, every year, we've got a wonderful team here in marketing, and every year we use that power of social media better and better. I think it's something that we're doing more effectively, and it's something that I encourage all the members of the fresh fruit and vegetable buying team down here, that it is so powerful. So when I've got a mango that I want to sell, if I know I've got something that you know, I need the world to understand, I just go upstairs and say, look guys, this is what I'm doing. And they do a Facebook drop or an Instagram drop, and you can just see what that does in the ensuing days once they make a post or something. It is really, really powerful. Conversely, if you get it wrong and they come on and they can have a field day as well, but you try not to focus on getting it wrong. You try and focus on getting it right. But, you know, to promote a mangoes, when I've got trays to sell, or I've got honey golds to sell, or I've got imperfects to sell, and I think that, you know, there's a really good bargain that the shoppers need to know about, and I just flick them a message upstairs, and I'm finding it more and more as a more powerful means of spreading the mango word than a lot of the sort of more traditional communication methods. So, yeah, just share that with you. I just got one more thing to say before I've got to make my way to kids pickup, or I'll also end up divorced, or the docs will be knocking on the front door. One thing that we have as an industry is that if we go, the amount of support that we'll get in the public by, like we're in this COVID situation together, but I think don't underestimate the power that around the supporting of Australian growers and farmers and producers has. You know, everyone out there, and it's been on news about the issues getting pickers. It's been on news, you know, the issues of, you know, potentially farmers having fruit that'll have to, you know, drop to the ground, or issues that there's no export. Like the information out there, and the media are doing us a really good service here. They are getting the customers prepared for what's about to come. Even subconsciously, it's the best advertising we'll get. So I've always say that, you know, it's a call to arms in many respects without being over dramatic, is that, you know, the philosophy and the mantra that we'll be running here is that this is in any other year, this is the year that our Australian mango growers need your support. We don't need you to eat one mango, we need you to eat 10. And it's incumbent on us, it's incumbent on all the people in this meeting to make sure that when we give them that piece of fruit, because they will, I'm telling you, the call to arms will be extremely powerful. When we tell them that the Australian growers need you to eat mangoes and cherries, if we got to make sure we hit the mark in terms of that eating experience, and then we will bring this home, you know, with a wet sail. I've got no doubt about it. You know, last week with we did a campaign on Australian asparagus. Once again, the implications on the marketplace because they couldn't export it. And we just said, you know, our growers that send here directly, that we need your support because we've got so much asparagus here to sell. And, you know, without restaurants and without export, we decided to take some of the heavy lifting on it. And we put a call out there and the response was massive. And that really got me excited about, as an industry, what we can achieve. And we can do it, and we can do it really effectively. I think you've all had plenty to hear from me. Grab a Panadol. Happy to take questions. And once again, I just want to reiterate all the best of luck to everybody. Have some fun, be nice, be mindful of everybody, and let's roll up the sleeves and get it done. Thank you.
Thank you, Carlo. A great presentation and a beautiful picture of what was going down in one of your stores today. Trays for sale already. Thank you. Pick up the kids and we will chat with you soon. And now I'd like to hand over to Monish Gounder from Countdown New Zealand. So thank you very much, Monish. We'd love to hear your presentation.
Thank you, Trina. All right. Share and present. All right. Hi, everyone. So my name's Manish Gounder. I've been trading mangoes for about 2 years now. Firstly, just looking at all your presentations, it's absolutely amazing. It's how I saw it today. So first time being in one of these presentations. So what I saw is literally what we could look like in the future. So amazing, big, bold displays. So I'll get started. So New Zealand, so we've got a population of about 4.8 mil. Probably by the end of the year, we'll be close to 5. We've got about 180 stores in New Zealand, and we service about 2.5 million customers in a week. So Countdown is owned by Woolies, as you know it, in Australia. So we trade under the Countdown banner. So how the store split up is upper north, we've got around 100 stores, and the lower north, we've got about 40 stores, and in the South Island, we've got about 40 stores. A brief history for mangoes. So in New Zealand, we don't have the climate to grow mangoes. So you'll notice a lot of Kiwis, they haven't grown up eating mangoes. So what we've noticed last couple of years is the whole eating experience that Carlo mentioned before. So once a customer gets a taste, you get those repeat purchases. And that's been a success story for us. Also, every time we've opened stores, mangoes was our go-to line, especially during summer. Front of the stores, build a display, and it was consistent top 5 sellers for produce. So that was amazing. Next up, so I'll share some numbers. So mangoes has been a journey for us. So the 2 key varieties we currently trade is the R2s and the Calypsos. In the past, we've done KPs, we've done honey golds, but what we've learned from there is the R2s and the Calypsos have that shelf life and the fruit strength, because importing or exporting into New Zealand, it goes through a radiation process, and then we end up clearing it heavy, and it gives us a bit of shelf life. So with the previous mangoes, the stock loss was quite high, and we've learned over the years, worked with our growers, and the R2 and the Calypso mangoes is where we're at. The keep mangoes is an opportunity this year. It's just to extend that season. Now, these numbers are amazing. So last season, we almost, oh well, pretty much doubled our sales, which is amazing. So it's, it was an outstanding result. So I was constantly chasing my tail. I'm trying to air freight in as much mangoes as I can. It was an exciting season, so we gave our customers a good experience. We got those repeat purchases. Also, what drove this is, well, the support from the Australian Mangoes Association and Trina especially. So Trina flew over, that photo on the slide. So we did presentation for the entire country, brought all the produce managers to one area, and we did presentations on mangoes. And that little snippet on the right is what I took out. So Trina shared the whole flirting buyers, first kiss buyers, dating buyers, and it links in with what we do as a business. So it's sort of what Dan shared earlier about young families, just the customer base. So it sort of links into that. So the next slide. Sorry, I'll go back to this. Now, previously we used to bring in mangoes from Ecuador. And what we did there was we retailed them at around $1, or we did 50-cent stunt activities to bring customers in. But over time, what we've experienced is once we started bringing the Australian mangoes, learning more about the product, that customers were willing to trade up. So they're willing to pay the premium price for the Australian mangoes. And as you can see, the last 4 years, how much we've grown this category. So our primary drive now is Australian mangoes, and you'll hardly see Ecuadorian mangoes in our store. So it's there as an offer, but the big bold displays up front is the Australian mangoes for us. Now, another key driver for us was the sales challenge. So we started this 3 years ago. So we got a trophy made up. It gets engraved with the produce managers' names, and once again, it's supported by Trina. In a perfect world, we'll be flying the produce managers over to Australia and to visit your farms just to see how mangoes grow. So that's something I'm still working on. So it'll be good to get the produce managers across. So last 3 years, so I'll share some stories. So Matt Cook, Auckland City, so premium store. He noticed an opportunity that the mangoes were actually quite popular in the store. So he just opened up on his displays and just smashed it that year. So he was a top seller. Volume wise, he was selling about 40, 50 cartons a day. Second up, so we got Muhammad from Countdown Papatoy. So if I were to rate the store, so it'll be in our top, bottom 5. So it's a very small store, but he's got the customer base around him. So he gave it a go last year, and he ended up outselling Matt Cook's store. So that was another outstanding achievement from Muhammad. So last season, so we got William on the right, so Mangere East. It's close to where our head office is in New Zealand. So he also noticed that opportunity that the customers were just into the mangoes, and he did exactly that. So he built a big bold display, backed himself up, and gave it a go. And once again, he joined the Mango Club pretty much. So now this competition is heating up. So what you see from produce managers is just getting excited about mango. So they've been messaging me, they've been calling me, how far the Australian mangoes, when are we starting? Do we have the sales challenge? So it's the momentum that we're going to carry into this season. And it's just looking forward to it, and just can't wait for this first mango. So just looking at the Harris Farm display, it's like, wow, I would love to get one of those displays in our stores. And next up, so this is where New Zealand's at with our displays. So we don't quite have those big bulky displays up the front, but that is one of my goals, is to find a couple of stores and just have a go this year. Sampling played a key part. So obviously we've got challenges with COVID. However, moving into level 1, it's going to ease that up, so it'll give us more flexibility, so there'll be a lot more sampling going on. Even smaller stores, they'll have the smaller displays, but they do sell quite a bit of mangoes. And that is it from me. Thank you.
Monish, thank you so much. It was just wonderful to have you present today, and with 24 hours notice, I'm sure every attendee is very, very happy. If the attendees would like to turn on their audio now, I'd love everybody to put their hands together for our presenters. A great big round of applause. Thank you, everybody. That was just awesome. I realise that we are heading over time now, so I just wanted to check in with the presenters. Are you up for a few questions? Do you have the time for a few questions now? All presenters?
I'm good. Yeah, I'm fine.
That's a thumbs up. Thank you very much. So do we have any from the chat room, Maureen?
There was one question from Debbie, but then Scott has just said that he have to follow up on that.
Okay.
The question was regarding the segmentation and the age brackets for the young, middle, and older people in Dan's presentation.
Thank you. A number of the questions that were sent in ahead of time have been addressed by speakers. Megan, I might actually throw a couple of questions to you if you're up for that at the moment.
Yes, of course. Can you hear me okay, Trina?
Yes, yes,
Great.
I can. Thank you. The question, one of the questions is, do you intend to range all varieties this year?
Yeah, so I guess similar to previous seasons, we do intend to range all the major varieties across the season, and we're open to ranging any other varieties as well if there's sufficient supply and quality available. Okay,
great. Another question that we've got, and this might be one that all retailers might like to take the opportunity to answer at some point, but it's been a conversation that's been happening within the grower base for several months and even during last season. And it's really about how do you make your decision on what variety to feature in print advertising or catalogue. And specifically came when we started to analyse the print media from last year, and you'd all be familiar with that. There were a lot of KP, Honeygold and Calypso advertisements, but not so many R2E2s. In fact, a total of 12 in print media last year. And the question came about, you know, how do we ramp that up for R2E2s? And obviously we've heard that, you know, we need to have the fruit available. So the question, Megan, to start with is, how does Coles make their decision on what variety to feature in print media or catalogue?
Yeah, so I guess in terms of what varieties we advertise, it's really based on what the available supply is, what the sort of proposed pricing and where that's sitting, and the quality as well. I would say the probably biggest, one of the most important factors is communicating what the sort of volumes are going to be up front, because we do need notice to be able to plan what we're putting in catalogue or any other media. So really, yeah, getting good communication on what the forecasts are looking like to be able to plan ahead.
Excellent. Dan, did you want to make a comment on that?
Pretty similar answer to Megan's, to be honest, Trina. Yeah, tell us where the opportunity is, and we'll have a good card crack at it. I guess the only other overlay to that is, you know, we need to be making decisions that are best for customers, and our customers tell us what they want as far as what varieties they want. So yeah, we're more likely to feature, you know, those customer-led decisions as opposed to just any sort of off-the-cuff decision. But at the same time, happy to entertain any sort of volume conversation that represents an opportunity. So,
thank you. Michael, did you have a comment on that question?
Yeah, thanks, Trina. And no real difference from us from that exact point about being customer-led. And for us, as I said in our presentation, we have two customers, our retailers and our retail shoppers. So when we're putting catalogues together, unfortunately, we have longer lead times, and that's not by desire, that's by design, unfortunately. We do need to go through what we have called as Retail Fresh Committees, and they're representatives of the IGA network in each state that we need to go to when we're presenting our catalogues in each state. So it also comes down to that ongoing education. So the more we educate our retailers about benefits of not just the KP, not just the Calypso, but other varieties, as we said, such as whether it be a honey gold, whether it be an R2, whether it be a Keat in the later season. So for us, it's that ongoing education, you know, and the challenge that we do have to get, you know, those other varieties into catalogue. We even have challenges where we're, for New South Wales, for example, we want to advertise a KP, but our retailers won't want us to brand the variety. They just want us to run with mango, which gives them then the opportunity to run different varieties if they choose. So we still do have those complexities. As I said, it's not from the desire, it's more because of the design of how things work. But again, same thing, the more notification we get, the better transparency in what's coming down the track, makes it a lot easier for us to make a really good decision that will benefit our customers, as I say, our retailers and their shoppers.
Thank you. Megan, one of the questions for Coles and Woolworths is around supply base. So how does a new supplier approach your business, Coles, if they don't currently have a relationship? How do they go about even starting one?
Yeah, so I guess welcome any growers to, I guess, contact me directly if they want to have a conversation about whether there are supply opportunities. Absolutely no problem with getting in direct contact. If you don't have my contact details, then you're more than welcome to contact Trina or Australian Mangoes, who can pass it on to us, and then we can have a discussion about if there is an opportunity for supply.
And I guess retail, any supplier just needs to be retail ready in terms of what that might look like. And
correct. Yeah, exactly. So in terms of, I guess, being able to supply Coles, any growers do need to be able to meet our technical and our ethical requirements. So that's really important to us. And then as well as that, being able to meet our quality standards and our specifications. So as long as growers can meet those minimum requirements, then definitely happy to have a conversation.
Dan, did you want to comment on that as well?
Copy paste, sorry, Trina. Exactly the same answer. So I can't add any other value to that conversation. But yeah, happy for you to pass on my contact details should anyone not have them.
Great, thank you.
And Trina, sorry,
yes.
And the same goes for me. Anyone happy to take a phone call?
Excellent, that's great. Monish, yourself, across the ditch even, what would happen if somebody wanted to supply into that ever-growing Feast of Mango category in New Zealand Countdown?
Exactly the same. So Countdown website, you can probably link into the produce team or get in contact with me, or just flick me an email. As easy as that. So I suppose a bit more. So I look after the boat procurement and the retail side. So yeah, just get in contact with me. Easy as that.
Excellent, thank you. We heard from yourself, Dan, and Manish, you touched on it, and certainly Carlo and Michael. So all presenters touched on it around the maturity of fruit. And a question I've got, and I'll direct this at you again, Megan, if you don't mind. Do you use dry matter for testing maturity? And is dry matter and bricks a part of your quality specification for the various mango varieties?
Mm-hmm. So at a DC level, we don't check dry matter, but we do check bricks and eating quality to determine if fruit is at the correct maturity and is going to meet customer expectations. I guess, we're looking at some other metrics, but not dry matter specifically. But obviously there's a lot of work that goes on farm with dry matter to make sure that it is ready to pick and be sent to Coles.
Excellent. Well, most of these questions here, and Carlo, you certainly answered them all there, and a number of presenters did. They were around COVID, that's been answered. You know, the range for this year, every presenter's touched on that in terms of buying into depth and breadth of range. We've heard that we're going to have fabulous big displays, luscious fruit sitting right in prominent positions. We've heard about how well the retailers are coming to the beginning of the season, how they're going to engage their stores and their retailers in delivering an excellent mango experience. We've heard how the marketing plans are ramping up, and we'll see TV, radio, great use of social media, sampling if possible. We'll see all marketing weapons aimed at mangoes, and there's no doubt that I think as an industry, we're certainly coming to the starting line of this season unified. We know what we need to do. It's simple, but very complex. We need to stay communicating with each other. We need to remain focused. As our forecasts change, we need to update them. And we just need to deliver a consistently good to great mango experience. So once again, I would like to thank all of our presenters and all of our attendees today. Thank you for coming to the virtual marketing webinar for Australian Mangoes 2020. And if there are any other questions, please just send them to myself, any attendees, and we'll make sure they're answered directly. Thank you, everybody. That ends our webinar.
Thanks, Trina.
Thanks, Trina. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.